Thank you very much. I'm not used to a speaker. Can you hear me over in the distance? Okay. No? Then I better go. You're right in front of me. Can you hear me in the back? Okay. You know, I teach, and I'm a professor in supply chain management and quality management. But forget academics. All of us have gone to India, or have lived in India, and we know what poverty is. It's when, you know, those kids, I think you should use it, okay. It's when the kids tap on the glass of the window of your car, okay? And it's then when you feel that you must do something, right? So, you know, we live a very comfortable life here. And I wanted to do something. And I work with India Development Services in Chicago. But they're more like you know, a different kind of entity. But I wanted to do hands-on. And there are many, many organizations. And I chose SpreadIndia. Now, SpreadIndia has a lot of projects in southern India. I speak Hindi, I speak no Telugu. But I went because what we can do. And this is the case of how we can do things in an extremely short period of time. How we can be effective. So, we have a particular model of how we set up orphanages and hostels, and we wanted to replicate it. And this is a case study of how we did it, and what we promised to do more. So, go ahead. So, and this is what Sridhar was talking about, how we're going to villages, finding those kids that are the weakest. Either they're orphans, they're tribal, there are some circumstances that they cannot go to school. And it's such a waste. It's such a waste. There's no reason. You know, we are so well off that we must do something. So this is what we went ahead and, you know, we went through a systematic process in terms of identifying the students that were in need. Okay? And then, go ahead. What we did was, and we realized that it's not a matter of an individual ego or doing it for oneself. It's getting things done. And realizing that different people have different contributions. So, SpreadIndia is providing a model, a template, funds, okay? They did development services too, and also Lions Family Foundation. Sai Padma was here. She's extremely competent, extremely efficient. There's no waste of resources. So go ahead. Now this is the facility that we were modeling out. See, what we need to do is figure out best practices. And so I had, last winter, I went to check them out. I'm not going to put a dime of my money or my time, hey, oh, here we go, if I'm not sure it works, okay? So I went to look at the facilities, and also, I'm a firm believer not in poshness. I know people go and invest in computers and all those things. To me, and I come from an educational background, to me the most basic thing is having a safe place to be healthy, to be clean, to have books, and this is what we did. And so they set up these facilities, and just sitting there and doing the work is just as good, and in fact sometimes better than being in a computer lab. When you studied as a kid, you did not study with computers, but many of you deal with computers. These kids, we know we can take it to them. And by the way, I love papaya trees. And just seeing that, I said, okay, we've got to move on that. Go ahead. Okay, here is some of the students, and you know how the kids here were singing and dancing? Well, there's it's not just academics, it's we also provide that kind of life that they want to live. Go ahead, move to the other one. Can you click again? Okay, yeah, here. And then also what we do is we've got within the hostel facilities, we have a place where they can study. It's very simple, very basic. We have even tuition, tutors. I mean, these kids are getting a very simple, clean, and really positive experience. Go ahead, click on the next one. And so we have one-to-one attention, and they're well taken care of. Okay, let's go to the next thing. Okay, the other thing we did is, I work with a big brother, big sister. I come from the Chicago area of Lake County. And we wanted to make a connection with the kids there and the kids in India. And these kids are pretty poor in the U.S., but we took, you know, baby beanie toys. We took 200 of them, and we took them over to the facility there. And you know, it is such a great pleasure to see the kids here doing something with the kids here. And you know, this little beanie baby that you had, that you donated, what is it to you? It's nothing. You see the piles of them at home? That's irrelevant. And these kids, that one thing, they're going to remember the rest of life. And I tell you, to me, you know, I do research and all this, get publications, but just seeing the kids at the smiles, you see some of the smiles there, I mean, that's just makes the day. It makes you so pleased. It's an internal pleasure. I don't need any other thing in life other than that. Go ahead. So we had a great time giving the gifts. Now, where is this facility? I can't even pronounce the city name, but that's irrelevant, okay? But this is where we are setting up a facility. So that was a template, and we decided to set up another facility, okay? This is with Sai Pugman's help. Go ahead. And being a researcher, we do methodology. Any of you read 3 Cups of Tea? The guy that went to Pakistan to set up? You did? That's not the way to set up a facility, by the way. We are very, very efficient at what we do. And what we do is we figure out how to do it. And now that we have a boys' facility, which I'm going to tell you, we're going to set up a girls' facility too. So go ahead. Go to the next slide. And we do modeling. We're extremely frugal. We put exchange rates. Right now, by the way, the rupee is very weak. So you're getting another 20% benefit about what you're doing, okay? And cost per child is very minimal with different assumptions. $250 per kid per year. You know, I don't know, how much is that Game Boy these days? You know, it's equivalent to that. Go ahead. And we actually track the kids. We have all the data on them, their family occupation, you know, how they're doing. We're going to be tracking kid by kid by kid. And in fact, I know it's a matter of process too. It's not just people. We can actually, we call it experiment. We can see, we have the kids, their performance, just by keeping it in our facility, we'll know if there's a difference or not. Just by that. Then we can have another intervention. We have tutors. I mean, there's so many things we can do. I mean, this is, to affect 35 kids is just unbelievable, you know? And let's move on there. So this is a facility, and the right-hand side corner is how it looked before. And for about $2,000, we got it set up, okay? And we had to dig bore wells, and we had to do rewiring, and we had to add 2 toilets, and we had to add, you know, roofing structures. We had to have bedding. We had to have all those things. $2,000. And by the way, in India, you also need a backup electricity because we have 35 kids. We cannot be in the dark, okay? All that was all part, not a generator. We got an inverter, okay? So, and you can see the type of facilities and what we're doing. Go ahead. And so, what can you do? Look, this was just a model, and it worked. And you know how things, you know, we feel like even in the U.S. things take so long. How many know how long it took to set this up? From the time we said we're going to set it up to the time it was ready. How long? Anyone?